Hey, what's up? This is Mark at alchemist.camp, where we learn Elixir and Phoenix by building things. Today, I'm continuing on the Ecto series I've been working on the past couple of weeks. Last time, we set up a brand new repo, just a plain mix repo, so that we could create a database and connect to it. We set up the repo here. We added configuration to connect to the dev database, and we pulled in the requirements we needed in mix. These squigglies are just because it's looking for a config slash test.exs. At least one of my plugins is. Haven't created that in a moment. We'll do that. But the main thing today is going to be creating the migrations so that we can use Ecto to create tables in our database. And let's get started. So first thing, get rid of all these squigglies. It's really simple. We just need one of these configurations for test. I'll get over here, call this test.exs, and paste in the exact same stuff we had, except the database for test will be linkly underscore test. And save that, and we should get rid of all of those squiggles that we just had in our mix.exs. We have. Excellent. Let's clear this terminal and connect to our database. So in dev, last time we set up just default credentials for localhost, and the name of the database was Linkly Dev. I've got Postgres installed, which is pretty much a prerequisite for anything in this series. And so I'll run PSQL and then Linkly underscore dev. And now we can look at what's in our database already. So we can say, show me all the tables in the database. There shouldn't be any, but I just finished going over this to prepare, and I created a bunch of tables. So let's get rid of those. So last time we did mix-ecto.create to make our new database. We can do mix-ecto.drop, as I did show last episode. To drop it, then we can create a database again, and we'll have none of the tables in. Oh, actually, we can't drop it while Postgres is connected to it, though. All right, now we should be able to drop the database, and we should be able to create a new one. And now, when we connect to the database again, look at the tables, we don't have any tables at all. Looking at our project, you'll see there is no priv directory, which is where all the migrations go by default. And if you generate like a new Phoenix project, those are all just there. Ecto will create it, though, if you generate a migration. So we'll do that in a moment. But first, let's look at the structure of this app. So this is going to be kind of a bare bones, delicious clone, backend only. And if you aren't familiar with Delicious, that was a popular website, like the Web 2.0 era, where you could bookmark links, but it was a social bookmark saving tool. So you could see what your friends have bookmarked, and you can tag the links with, or tag the bookmarks with various things. And then you can follow tags or look for other things that are tagged with the same thing, or just look at your bookmarks that you've tagged with something. And it was a pretty cool site. I think it just kind of died by Yahoo acquisition, but there was nothing wrong with it. It just kind of stagnated, and I always kind of missed it. So let's see what the schema would look like. Users are super simple. They'll just have a username and an email, and that's it for now. And the links are just a URL. And a bookmark is kind of the act of saving one of those links. You give it a title, and if I don't say what data type this is, it just means it's a string. Then we'll have a link ID that refers back to this URL. So lots of people could bookmark the same URL, for example. And the user ID is just keeping track of who bookmarked it. So that's all the data we need there. Tags, this would be like you tag something interesting, or you tag it useful, or you tag it French politics, or whatever you want. That's just the title. Then when you tag a link, we need to keep track of the ID of the link, the ID of the tag, and remember the tag just has a title, and the user who tagged it. So knowing who tagged something what is what's stored in this table. Then we probably won't get to it today, but at some point I'll also add something so that users can follow a specific tag they're interested in. So I might follow everything tagged Elixir, for example. Um, Someone else might follow everything tagged cooking. And follows is another join table that'll join users who are following each other. So we'll have a following ID and a follower ID. So all pretty straightforward stuff. First thing we'll create will be the user. Actually, we'll just go straight down the list. So let's look at the syntax for that. I'll clear the screen. Do mix ecto.gen migration, and then we'll call it create users. So that'll create a new migration. Actually, we'll get a priv/repo/migrations directory. Our migration's in here. We need to tell it what table to make and what to add. So that name we passed it looks like it means something, but we could have called that anything. We still need to give it all the information inside. So create table, and this is going to be called users. And inside the create table block, we'll add username, and this is a string, and we'll also add email, which is also a string. Then we want the auto-generated timestamps, which will give us created at and updated at timestamps. There we go. And finally, we need a unique index. So emails are unique. Actually, these are emails and usernames are both unique. So create unique index on users and email and username. And we gotta have a colon first. It's an Adam username. Okay, save that and pop down to the terminal, and we'll do mix ecto.migrate. Then we should be able to hop back to the database and look at our tables. You can see we now have a users table. We'll have a look at what's in the users table. Users, they're all plural. So our users table has an ID, which we didn't specify. We just get one of those automatically. It's a big int, and an email, a username. They're both strings. If you say string, it's up to 255 characters. If you want longer, you need to specify text instead. And we've got our timestamps and one unique index, although I really had intended to add two. So now let's look at the good thing about migrations. If we had done this manually, it would have been kind of a pain to undo this. Since we didn't, we can just do mix ecto.rollback, and that will undo the last migration. If you're coming to Phoenix from the Rails or Laravel world, this is probably super familiar. If you're coming from Node or another ecosystem, maybe not. Maybe you've done things more manually. Anyway, we'll add that second unique index for username, save it, and rerun our migration that we just had. So that will be here. And now we have both of the unique indexes we wanted. Very good. We'll go back and look at what's next in our list of notes. So links. So next is links. That's going to be the easiest of all. So mix ecto.gen.migration, create links. And in here, we'll create the table. So create table links. And the links just have a URL. So that's add URL string. Those are definitely going to be unique. So create links and URL. Save that. And we'll migrate our links table. This one should be pretty boring to look at. So we've got our links, and all we have is, oh, we don't have our timestamps. Well, that's going to be really easy to add. Timestamps, save that, and roll back, and then remigrate. There we go. Next on the list is bookmarks, titles, link IDs, user IDs. So mix ecto.gen.migration, add bookmarks. Create table bookmarks. And add title, which is going to be a string. Add link ID, which references links. And inside of our references, we can add a field called onDelete and see what happens when it's deleted. If you don't fill that out, you'll get an error whenever the thing is deleted that something else is referencing. We're going to say delete all. Okay, then we'll do the same basic thing for users. So this will be user ID and users on delete all. So if a user is deleted, all of their bookmarks go as well. And timestamps. Finally, we need a unique index for the combination of the link and the user ID. So an individual link can be bookmarked by lots of people, and any given person can bookmark lots of links, but you can't have the same person bookmark the same link multiple times. It just doesn't make a whole bunch of sense to have that possible. So create unique index, and first is a table, so that's bookmarks. After that is the specific fields of the table. Usually it's just one, but here we'll do two, so it'll be unique on the intersection of the two. Let's migrate that and look at our table. All right, now let's look at bookmarks. Big int, varchar. The foreign keys are also big ints. So we have our timestamps, and we have a couple of new things here. So this foreign key constraint, bookmarks, links ID, F key. This is actually the name of the constraint that you'd have to use inside your change set, or not your change set, inside your constraints. It would be in the same pipeline as your change set. Say if you're doing a Phoenix project and you forget to put a constraint in Ecto that you've got in the database, you'll have, or I should say, you forget to put a constraint in your Ecto schema that you've got in your database, then you'll just get an error and it'll say you need to create a constraint for it. This is what that would have to be named. So if you ever are unsure what it should be named, checking here is the easiest way to find out. And finally, you can see we have the bookmarks, links ID, user ID index here, unique on the two of them. So we have everything we wanted on that one. Next up is title, which is pretty simple. So mix ecto.migrate, not migrate, gen migration. add title, add titles. I make all of these plural. Add titles, create table titles, and add, that's not right, tags just have a title. Went a little bit too fast, so we'll change this to add tags and change this to tags, and we'll change the name of this to tags. There we go. Add title, and titles are strings, so this tag would be like you tag some bookmark interesting, and we definitely want timestamps. We're going to have timestamps in everything, and those are going to be unique because you would never want to have two separate tags with the same name, at least not that I can think of, unless you've got some advanced functionality on like the different meanings of a word that's spelled the same way, but we're not going to do that. So we'll create unique index on tags and title. Migrate that. Have a look back in the database and check out. Oh, looks like we did not get the migration done. Syntax error before title. Add is a macro, so add shouldn't have, it's not an atom. Okay, we'll run that again. Okay, and go back to our database, look at our tables, and then we'll look at our tags. All right, looks good. So we'll continue onward. What do we have left? I think, yeah, the last one for today is links for tags. So link tags. Mix ecto.gen.migration, add link tags. There we go. And we'll create a table. So this should be getting pretty familiar at this point. Add link tag. Oh, just link tags. And then what do the link tags have? They have more than just link IDs and tag IDs. They also have user IDs. So add link ID references links, and if we delete the link, all the tags should be deleted as well. So on delete all. You may or may not want that behavior, but at least for this one I do. And I'll just do this to make tag ID, and that'll be tags, and this one will be users, and this will be user ID. We want timestamps, and what else do we need? We will allow links to be tagged many times, and we'll allow many links or many bookmarks to be tagged with the same thing. And we'll also allow any user to tag any number of links, and they could use the same tag the same number of times. They could tag the same link with multiple tags. So basically, the only thing that needs to be unique is a combination of all three. Create unique index for link tags, and it's going to be unique on link ID, tag ID, and user ID. We'll save. Actually, already did save it. We'll just migrate that and check it out in the database. We do have a new table for link tags, and I bet we have pretty much what we want in it. Link tags. Got all the keys and timestamps, and we have our uniqueness. All right. That is pretty much it for this time. As I said, we will add a couple more schemas eventually, but I think that's enough that you get an idea of what we're doing. Uh, Actually, I should have said migrations. So we've added all of these tables by creating migrations, but we haven't yet created the Ecto schemas for it, which will make it easier for us to insert and remove data. So that's what we'll do next time. Hope you found this useful. If so, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel because I will be making many more Ecto tutorials. See you next time.